everyone. Welcome to another episode of Trap Chat Meeting the Moment, Embracing and Navigating Pivots Part 2. I am joined today by a very special guest, and you will see just how and why they are so special. They are Sales and Leadership Learning Program Manager, joining us from the Windy City, but hailing from the mean streets of Forest Hills. A Northern Belle, proud rich auntie who loves working out, reading, shopping, and being a cardigan stealing, bratty, but big hearted baby sister. Nyasha Bailey, how are you, doll?
I am great. And I promise a decade later, I will get you that yellow cardigan.
You've been saying that for like 15 years.
We'll settle this chat later.
We will. All right, let's get into it because this is a good show, and we're going to keep it together. All right.
I hope
You
so.
you will. You grew up in a community where neighbors were family and people showed up for each other in ways that stayed with you. Then Katrina took your senior year at Xavier University and the relocation started. Delaware, Charlotte, Chicago, each one a new room you had to learn how to belong in. What did you carry forward from that early foundation, and how has it shaped the way you move through spaces when the ground keeps shifting?
Well, for starters, that foundation was really solid. And the village that my parents had for me growing up, I'm still connected to today. So that's helped me stay grounded through the different seasons of life. As I've made career moves, life changes, I've had a solid group that could tell me, you might want to consider this or make these changes and really pray for me as I move through life because you all have known I'll make a decision and be in a new city a month later. So there's a lot of anxiety around some of
Yeah,
the moves that I have made throughout the years, but staying connected and staying rooted with the folks that have always supported me has helped me navigate all the challenges and all the pivots that I've been able to make.
I love that. Speaking of some pivots, which is what the show's all about, you walked away from enterprise at 26 as a branch manager. And for those that don't know, that was a big deal when she was 26 because that leadership program or that development program was really big. But then you took a mental health break and you came back through Nordstrom as a personal shopper. Hello. That's a move most people in corporate spaces would never put on a resume. How did you rebuild trust in yourself and your own judgment after stepping off what looked like a fast track? And what do you tell clients or colleagues now who are afraid that a pause will cost them their credibility?
So, for starters, I didn't lose trust in myself when I made that decision. I made that decision to protect my mental health. I knew at that age I had sacrificed a lot. I had dealt with the loss of my mother while working there. I had sidelined my mental health and my safety in some scenarios. So a lot of people didn't know at the time that the model for enterprise was to have their locations match the demographics. So obviously, my clientele was a little bit more urban than we would have appreciated, but you had to run some risks in order to rent cars. And I would
Mm,
find myself repoing cars and in very dangerous situations that I knew I couldn't continue to do. And I couldn't do it while sacrificing time with my family. And after losing my mom, I knew that that was significantly more important. So I made the decision to walk away because I couldn't continue that path anymore. And I've always enjoyed shopping. I said, why not get paid to do what I was basically born to do, thanks to my mother?
yeah.
And I made that pivot and went into retail. And I know a lot of people saw it as a huge step back, but it put me in spaces where my clients were attorneys, entrepreneurs. They were corporate execs, and I was able to spend time with them, build a book of business, and diversify the type of sale that I was doing. So it gave me a very different perspective and honestly made me stronger stepping back into the traditional corporate space. Today, I stepped away for a few years. I was able to build a book of business, build these relationships. And that pivot also created a network for me that I was able to utilize as I've been able to transition from city to city. And
Mm-hmm.
so it was not
I love it.
a lot of people have questioned me, but
Mm-hmm.
it definitely gave me a different set of skills that if I had continued that path, I would have otherwise missed out on.
I love it. So what would you say to someone who is afraid that a pause or even a shift will cost them everything?
Don't be afraid, especially if it is affecting your mental health.
Mm-hmm.
With this climate right now, you want to protect your peace as much as possible. And when you make that pivot, be sure that you're doing it with your eyes open and your heart open, and you're taking away the lessons that you can in that season, because seasons shift. You're going to change, you're going to move into something else, but you want to be able to walk away from something in that season.
I love it. And I love that you said, I did not lose trust in myself. I love it.
Mm-mm. If I had, I would have stayed.
Yeah. Okay, we're going to shift just a little bit because you told me things that, and while I have the same experience, I usually stay quiet in these conversations as a Gen Xer and you as a millennial. So I'm gonna let you say it as a millennial. You told me Black women have been the most impactful forces in your career in a positive way. And you came up in a community, again, where that kind of investment in each other was already modeled. How have those relationships continued to shape how you show up? And what has that network made possible for you that you don't think you could have built navigating the predominantly white male spaces you're in alone?
Yeah, those doors and those relationships opened a lot for me. So I've had two Black women that were my direct managers throughout my career. And the first one sat me down and was like, listen, I see something in you that you may not see in yourself right now. And the hard push I'm going to give to you, don't take offense to it, but we've got to be better than our counterparts. You can't half step. You have to show up and put in that extra effort to even have a level playing field. And that was in my early 20s. And I appreciated that because that modeled how I showed up. And she modeled that. So she was walking the walk, not just talking it. Then the second time was actually the end of my sales career and my transition into the learning and development space, where the company I was working for, we had a Black woman who was running the training team for sales. Okay. And she and I connected. And again, she was like, I think you're playing small. There's more that you have to give. I see something in you that you may not see. So, I'm going to take you under my wing for a period of time. And she mentored me and brought me into the learning and development space, which I wouldn't be in the space that I'm in now if she didn't do that. She was in the room speaking for me when I couldn't be in the room. Now I'm able to be in the room and navigate these conversations for other people who are not in that space. So having powerful women that showed me it can be done, we don't have to be crabs in a barrel, has really opened my eyes to see, okay, I don't have to be the only one in this space. I can lift up another woman, and it's actually much more impactful when I do that.
I love it. And speaking of powerful women, it's a segue to my next question. Your mom, Miss Carolyn, was one of my favorite people growing up. She used to tease me. She was supposed to be my babysitter for like 30 minutes in the morning, but that never really
that couldn't happen.
Well, we spent more time, doing girl stuff than
I know
than babysitting.
Not the traditional babysitter situation.
But yeah, no, no, not at all. Uh, but you did lose your mother to breast cancer, um, and you went back to work too fast. These are your words, not me saying this.
Yes,
And then you had a breakdown.
I did.
Years later, you lost your father at a
Mhm.
time when that relationship was carrying its own weight and complexity. Grief that arrives when things are unfinished or unresolved has its own kind of reckoning. How has navigating both of those losses shaped how you hold yourself accountable to your own healing, to the people you serve, and to not repeating the pattern of pushing through or going back to work before you're ready?
Yeah, so my mother passed when I was in my early 20s, and I was running the branch at Enterprise. She was sick, and while she was sick, it happened rapidly. It From the time that she had gone into hospice care to when she was gone, it was about 45 days. So prior to this battle with cancer, she had dealt with breast cancer in the past, had gone into remission. And just before Christmas, she got sick again. We didn't know what was going on. Then, right after Christmas, she had to go into the hospital and she never left. So my brother and I had to make a very difficult decision of what does next look like. I took a leave of absence. I went to spend that time with my mom. We knew that this was the end and we had the time to prepare. I was thankful in that situation that it was just he and I that were on the same accord. We were able to have discussions with our mom before she passed. So when she passed, it was like, okay, we figured it out. We're good. I underestimated once she was gone how
Mhm.
quickly I could bounce back because I felt that I had dealt with this. This wasn't anything new. I could take a week off and then go back to work with no problem. And I remember being in the office and I had a customer yell at me. And those who know me know I am not a fragile person. I am not afraid of conflict. And I literally slid down the wall. I put my phone down. I called my friend who worked at HR at the company at the time and said, come and get me.
Oh,
And I don't want to cry. But again,
take your time.
having someone show up for me when I needed it, she made all the calls and said, Nyasha's not coming back until she's ready.
Okay.
And that's when I went into therapy. I have been in therapy ever since because these seasons do happen,
Yep.
how we bounce back. And at this point, it's just me. Both of my parents are gone. Um, I'm single, so I don't have a partner to fall back on. And I have to know how to navigate these different spaces and scenarios and have the tools to pick myself up. And I'm thankful that along this journey, I have built a very strong circle that is supportive, that has helped me navigate that. So when my father passed in 2019, it was a little easier to navigate. The situation was different. As you said, there were some complexities to our dynamic at that time
Yeah.
that I had been dealing with. So I didn't have the time to prepare that I did with my mother. And that had its own pitfalls, and we will leave those
Yeah,
to.
we'll leave those off of here. Yeah.
But that situation actually opened the door for me to have very different conversations with people around me who had older parents and
Mhm.
relatives who were older because my mother's affairs were in order when she passed. My father's were not in order the way in which hers were. So we had to navigate this situation a lot differently and deal with legal situations and other things that opened my eyes to a lot that I wish someone had this discussion with me ahead of having to deal with it. And I've gone out of my way to talk to those that are close to me to say, please have your things in order. Here's what it looks like. Here's what the relatives you leave behind have to deal with. And even as your parents are aging or your close relatives are aging, being sure that things get in order, because one day they're in the best of health and then the next they may not recognize who they are, and they may not have the ability to pay their bills or take care of the day to day, and the person you're used to seeing is no more. And how do we have an intervention for that type of situation? And I've been able to show up for different friends and family because I had to navigate that and say, here are the questions you want to ask. Here's who you want to pull in and when. So when you deal with a situation, you're like, hey, it's not always for yourself. This was one of those. It was tough to navigate in the beginning, but I've been able to help other people be proactive on their situations.
I didn't plan this well.
I said I wasn't going to cry, but
no, I don't mind. It's not even that part of it. I'm like, how do I even ask you any more questions now? Because like, there's nothing else to say. Like, come on.
There's plenty to ask.
Terrible segue. This is me telling myself. All right, we're going to take a pause because Kirsten is. We need to take just a second. Okay. As someone who doesn't know you and just met you, you build multi-generational training programs in spaces that have at times triggered your mental health. That's a significant thing to manage while also performing at a high level and showing up as a Black woman in rooms that were not built for you. What proactive steps have you put in place, not to cope, but to protect yourself? And what do you want organizations to understand about what it actually costs a person to produce in environments that were not designed with them in mind?
Well, this is a perfect question, honestly, because I just dealt with this a couple of hours ago in my professional space, but it helps to have a therapist that I work with on a regular, that I can navigate some of these conversations and be proactive ahead of some meetings or big projects that I know will feel like a firing squad when I am standing in front of leadership and having to say, on occasion, the very difficult part of, you need to hold a mirror up. You're contributing to the issue. It is a gap that we have to fill. And sometimes those discussions are very difficult to have, and they don't want to hear them. And as a Black woman, being the only one in the room, knowing who can be an ally, who can translate. And I've had in my corporate career, I call them my white male translators, where I can say to them, hey, here's what we're doing. Here's what the project is. Here's the scope. And let them run with it and rally the troops. So when I come in, it is received a little bit better and it sounds a bit more palatable. And a lot of times we can say the same things, but they just don't hear me. I don't look like them. I'm not having the same side conversations that they're having. And sometimes they just don't want to hear it. They don't want to hear it from somebody who doesn't look like them, who doesn't sound like them. And knowing when to stand firm and say, this is what needs to happen versus when we can truly collaborate and reach across the aisle and make changes. But I think the big lesson for corporations to understand, and especially senior leaders, is that you will lose talent in some of these spaces if you don't get to the root of the problem. We are continuing in some companies to put lipstick on a pig and hope that we're going to fix a problem. It could be turnover, it could be filling skill gaps, it could be a bunch of different things. But we have to get to the root. Otherwise, it's like bamboo. That's one of the most intrusive plants that you can put in the ground. It's going to grow and spread and take over and run wild. That's what's happening in some of these companies. And in this economy, there is a lot of wonderful talent that is out here that you can choose from, but understand that they don't have to look like you and they don't have to sound like you to be skilled and be effective in your organization.
I love that. I would just say this, like, I'm so proud of you right now. It's just amazing for me, like knowing you when you were born and now, like, just a whole, like, you're a whole grown woman.
Who knew? And I haven't stolen a cardigan from you in forever.
That's because you haven't been here.
We'll change that.
Ma'am. Okay. I'm very so I'm a Scorpio and I'm very I hold on to things. We won't call them grudges. We'll call them things. And Nyasha was doing me a favor, clearing out some belongings that needed to go. And she took a cardigan that I did not want to get rid of. And she told me she would replace it, and she still hasn't. So that's why I keep going back to the cardigan.
Listen, and it is the color of the jacket she is wearing. So now that I can recall which shade of yellow I owe her, she will have a cardigan soon that she can wear on an upcoming episode.
It's always yellow. There's a person, I will say her name, Lisa, who has a yellow dress of like a sundress type of thing of mine. I did give it to her, I found out. But still, like now I don't have one. So it's always yellow. It's always the color yellow.
Maybe we just need to find you a new color.
Perhaps.
But okay. Enough of our sister side chat.
Yes, enough of this. Because no, you're giving so much good information. I like I said, I didn't know you could talk. Like, I really didn't.
I'm still the little wild child from Forest Drive. She's in here. She shows up in the space sometimes when it's not called for.
So she's intelligent. She's well spoken. She's like wow. Like, I'm amazed. You're a grown woman. I can't believe it. It's unfair.
Man, who knew? Well, thanks. Part of that is thanks to you.
Except for the time I threw your steak on the floor.
That I'll never forget that. That's why you haven't gotten your sweater. And I don't even eat steak anymore.
I know. So that's a moot point. Okay. From Katrina to your Katrina being the hurricane people, not a person, to your mother's hospice, from a breakdown you tried to outrun to losing your father while the chapter between you was still open. You've had to meet the moment in some of the hardest circumstances a person has to face, often while still trying to show up professionally. For a listener who's in the middle of something unfinished right now, what do you know now that you wish someone had told you then?
That this too shall pass. And it sounds cliche when someone says it, but how you feel, where you are, what you're dealing with is not forever. It is temporary. As difficult as it feels for you, as hard as it is to get up out of bed or even shower for some people, it does get better. If you open your mind, open your heart, you start talking to people who are going to pour into you, and you focus on what is positive in your life, it will adjust your perspective. You will start to see the sunshine again. It doesn't feel as cloudy. And then you begin to see the shift in your life, and you can move forward and know, as you've gone through that season and you've had the support, that you've got a strong village around you that will continue to show up for you.
I love it. It is time for the rapid fire. I have strict
Okay.
instructions. I'm going to follow them. Okay.
We'll see.
I will. Who's a well-known or lesser-known historical or contemporary figure who inspires you and we should learn more about?
Oh, that is a good one. Not very rapid fire. There are a few. I will say they are honestly fashion influencers, oddly enough, which is not my space at all. But they are Black women who are very bold and unapologetic in who they are. And as a rich auntie
Mm-hmm.
who does not desire to be a rich mom, I will say the rich mom, Tanika B, who lives a very colorful and full life. She's well-traveled, educated, and unapologetic about who she is and how she shows up into spaces. And Chi Smalls, who is also one of her friends, who has had a very full corporate career and shows up in a space as a dark-skinned Black woman who is beautiful, unapologetic, and has carved out a space that should be acknowledged. And women should, and not just women, I'll say, but people in general should live a very full life and be open and unafraid and unapologetic.
Okay. What's the best piece of career advice you've received you would give your early career self?
The best piece of career advice is show up as yourself. And when I got that advice, prior to that, I'm trying to navigate a space of what should I say, what shouldn't I say? And then the moment someone was like, be Nyasha, be authentic. It has been so freeing because everybody gets me. And some days I might be a little bit more palatable than others, but it's authentic. It's Nyasha, and it's usually very unapologetic.
I love that. And I love that your parents gave, like, your name is Nyasha. Like, there is, like, you have a powerful name. And there's no denying that a person named what you're named is going to live up to that name every single day. Carolyn and Robert, like.
Yeah. I joke about that all the time because I'm like, y'all are rude. People are going to be figuring out my name for the next 50 years, and y'all are Robert and Carolyn. Thanks.
Robert and
But
Carolyn.
now, as I've gotten older and I look at why they did that, I understand. And before I enter a room, there's no question what Nyasha is going to be. You're not going to see a 5'2", blonde hair, blue-eyed white woman walk into this space. You're going to see a 5'9" woman, probably in 5-inch heels. Who knows what hairdo she will have. And she's going to be the fullness of herself. So I'm thankful for it now. I wasn't as a kid. I was ready to change my name at the age of 10. And my parents were like, absolutely not. So here we are.
Okay. Well, I'm glad they did not do that. They did not allow you to change your name. Okay. If you wrote a book describing your career so far, what would the title be?
Buckle Up.
What did you say?
Buckle Up.
Oh. I'll tell you what I heard. offline. Okay.
I can only imagine. But yes,
Buckle
buckle up
up.
like a
Butter
seatbelt.
cup. Buckle up, buttercup.
Yes, buckle up.
Okay.
Because my career has taken me plenty of different places, either by car, train, plane. It has been a roller coaster. So, in every aspect, I've had to buckle up for the ride.
I love it. Ooh. What fictional character gives you a glimpse of yourself?
Oh, that's a tough one. I'll say, where in the world is Carmen Sandiego?
Okay.
That's typically the question. I am
Yeah,
on
where is
Find My
Nyasha?
Friends with quite a few people because they never know where I'm going to be, what I'm going to be doing. So that would probably be the one that resonates the most right now.
Hmm. I only know you're planted when I see your stories, and I'm like, oh, she's on the road again.
That's it. Like my schedule for next month, I think I'm gone for 3 weeks in a couple
Wow.
different time zones. So
All
yeah,
right.
we'll see.
Okay. What is your go-to songs, or music genre when you want to hype yourself up to conquer the day?
When I want to hype myself up, I am going to be playing some good old hip hop. You're going to get some Jeezy, you're going to get some Lil Kim, you're going to get some good Southern Juvenile, who
Mm,
knows? But if I am in the zone and I need to like lock in for a meeting and I can't be that hype, I'll go some old school R&B, a little Anita Baker, maybe some Boney James.
oh,
So that's usually my go-to.
okay. What is your favorite empowering quote?
Live your best fucking life.
Nyasha. You better apologize to Mama Deidre right now.
Listen, I am an adult. Live your best. Listen, what does it say right above me? Unapologetically her.
Okay. I
That's
don't
it.
mind you said that, but you know my mom is gonna watch this. She gonna be like,
And that's
Nyasha.
fine.
She goes, Nyasha curses. Oh my
Nyasha is in her 40s. It is okay.
god. I'm still in my 40s.
That's
I am
fine.
for now. I am
Mhm.
though. I am.
Listen, I know how
Okay.
old you are. We don't have to tell the people.
They know
You're
how old
10
I
minutes
am
older
too.
than me.
No. More like 35 minutes older, maybe 45. Okay. Before I let you go, what is one thing you want folks to take away from our conversation today?
I would want people to take away that you can pivot and things will work out. The pivots I have made in my life have made me the woman I am today, and I don't regret it for one moment. It's been a bumpy ride, and I've had to buckle up, and you too may have to buckle up, but you'll live a full life if you do it unapologetically.
I love it. Thank you so much for being here with me today. I know it was your idea.
I need the audience to know I had no part in this.
You had very
This was
you had you had very little to do with you being on here today,
I did
but
my little
but
sister duty and listening to my big sis and just showing up.
but thank you for being um, unapologetically you. Thank you for stretching yourself in this way. Thank you for sharing your story so openly and authentically. I love you. I'm proud of you. Everyone, I'm not giving you, I didn't ask her that one question because I don't want you following her. Leave her alone.
Please, please do.
That's
Please
enough
leave me alone.
stalkers. Please. Um,
And sorry for cussing, Mama Deidre. I love you.
I try not to cuss, but I do cuss, but you just didn't even like you just loaded it and just sprayed the whole show. Like, okay.
That's it. Because
I-
listen, let's navigate that pivot.
let's navigate that pivot. All right. And then we are going to navigate away from this episode and pivot to giving you all back the rest of your day. Thank you for joining another episode of Trap Chat. I will see you next time.
Thank you. Bye,
Bye-bye.
everyone.